Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. It's Tuesday, October 27th. You're watching the OSTA YouTube channel. Usually on these videos, I'm giving you some free pick selections. Today, I'm going to do something a little different since it's still really early in the week and we're getting into the time of year right now where for about the next 6 weeks or so, following the world culmination of the World Series, which will either end tonight or tomorrow, we're going to just have football to talk about. So we're going to expand our football coverage a little bit. And I'm going to do something a little different today, like I alluded to. I am going to take an early look at the entire Week 8 NFL card and go through the games, the current lines, and just share some thoughts in the early part of my handicapping process this week. If you haven't subscribed to our OSTA YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. We would encourage you. It's what helps keep these videos alive, and I would appreciate it. It costs you absolutely nothing, no strings attached. You can unsubscribe anytime you would like. I don't know why you would do that because everything's free, but just a word of comfort there. You're not locked into anything. And be sure to give me a like at the end of these videos, folks. It would certainly be appreciated. Just a friendly reminder as well. My website is rbwins.com. It's there you can find all my selections that go to my paying clients. You could become one of those simply by going there. My NFL, folks, red hot right now. Lost last night with Chicago, but still 8-3 with my last 11 and 24-13 with my last 37 NFL pay selections. My college football 10-star top plays have gone an excellent 5-1 over the last 6 weeks. That's rbwins.com. Okay, we have a lot to cover. Let's get right to it. I'm going to go in order of rotation if that helps, folks, if you want to follow along and you're keeping score at home. Let's start with the Indianapolis at Detroit game. This game opened with Indianapolis as a 2.5-point favorite and the total at 50.5. The total has since moved to 50. This is an Indianapolis Colts team that's coming off a bye week, and the last time we saw them play, they overcame a 21-0 first half deficit to the Cincinnati Bengals, ended up coming out on top 31-27. Detroit's coming off back-to-back road wins, albeit those wins came over Atlanta and Jacksonville. Those teams are combined 2-12. Having said that, Detroit now is 3-1 on the year on the road. However, they're just 0-2 at home, and they'll be at home this week. So we'll see if the Lions can put together their third win in a row. It's been a long time since I've been able to say that when previewing a Lions game. This is an Indianapolis defense as well, folks. Started out red hot in their first 4 games, allowing a little over 12 points a game and less than 300 yards, actually around 236 yards per game. And in the last 2, not so good. They've allowed 385 and 398 in their last 2 games against the Cleveland Browns. And as I touched upon, the game before against the Cincinnati Bengals. Minnesota at Green Bay, a big NFC North matchup. Green Bay opened as a 5.5-point favorite, the total 56. This line has since moved to Green Bay -7 and 54.5. The Minnesota Vikings are coming off a much-needed bye week, and they've got off to a disappointing 1-5 start to the season. They'll be playing with revenge as they opened the season at home against the Packers and got pretty much blown out, 43-33. That score was not as close as the game. That score does not indicate how not close that game was. How's that? Boy, oh boy, a tongue twister. Anyway, getting back to the game, Minnesota is a -7 turnover differential heading into this week. This is a Green Bay team, on the other hand, that's only turned the ball over twice all season long. Aaron Rodgers done a heck of a job of protecting the ball. And Aaron Jones, who did not play last week, Green Bay's leading rusher, is listed as questionable going in this game. But good news for Minnesota is star running back Dalvin Cook, who's missed the last 2 games, is highly probable to be play on Sunday. All right, our next game. Let's go to the game. New England at Buffalo, an AFC East showdown. Right now, the first place Buffalo Bills sit at 5-2, and the New England Patriots just struggling right now at 2-4. However, buyer beware. New England has dominated the Buffalo Bills over the years, albeit Tom Brady was there for much of that domination period, and Bill Belichick's been there for all of it. So this year it's Cam Newton, and Cam Newton has struggled mightily over his last couple starts. As a matter of fact, New England 0-3 straight up in ATS in their last 3 games and averaging 9 points per contest. The Buffalo Bills are coming off a uninspiring 18-10 win over the New York Jets on Sunday, failed to cover as a 10-point favorite. However, the Bills, 6 field goals, their kickers, Tyler Bass, 6 out of 8 on field goal attempts, 9 drives. The first 8 resulted in field goal attempts, and the last one was a kneel down when the game was sewed up. So they moved the ball, but they shot themselves in the foot. One time, Josh Allen fumbling inside the 20-yard line of the Jets, and a couple other times because of penalties. So having said that, big showdown there. New England could ill afford to lose that game. If they do, Buffalo's going to have a large 3.5 game lead in the AFC East over New England at the halfway point of the season. Tennessee at Cincinnati. Well, the Tennessee Titans are coming off a heartbreaker. Their first loss of the season, losing to Pittsburgh 27-4 or 27-24. The Titans roared back from a 27-7 second half deficit, only to see their kicker, Stephen Gostkowski, miss a tying field goal attempt with less than 10 seconds left to play. And the Pittsburgh Steelers walk away with a perfect 6-0 record, while Tennessee, as I touched upon, loses their first game of the year. This is a Tennessee Titans team that's given up a lot of points. Not a lot of points, a lot of yards. Well, yeah, I guess you could say a lot of points. 25 points per game for a team that's 5-1 seems like an awful lot, as well as giving up over 400 yards per game. But one thing they've been very good at defensively is forcing turnovers. As a matter of fact, Tennessee as a team, after 6 games, is a plus 12 in the turnover department. The loss of Vegas Raiders at the Cleveland Browns, intriguing matchup. Cleveland opened as a 3-point favorite. It's since been bet down to 2.5. The total opened at 55.5. It's now 54. The Raiders have gone over the total in all 6 of their games this year, while the Cleveland Browns have gone over the total in all 3 of their home games. The Raiders are 3-3, but the teams they have faced are 25-15 currently. So in other words, the 6 opponents they faced so far this year have a combined record as of today of 25-15. That's a 625 win percentage. That's a strong schedule. As a matter of fact, the Raiders, at their 3 wins this year, they've beaten teams with a combined 13-7 record as we speak. That's a 650 win percentage. The Browns' 5 wins, on the other hand, they're 5-2, have come against opponents who are now a combined 9-17-1. So in turn, if you're wondering why the Browns are such a small favorite against the Raiders at home, especially in light of the fact Cleveland's 3-0, number 1, Odell Beckham Jr. will be out for the year. I'm sure that had a little to do with the line being where it is right now. Not an enormous amount. I would say at least a half a point to a point. And also the fact that the Raiders have faced a much tougher schedule. That's not to say I'm making a pick on this game at this particular moment in time. The New York Jets at the Kansas City Chiefs. I just touched upon the Jets. Bad news, the Jets are 0-7 so far. The good news is they finally covered a game. The Jets are now 1-6 against the spread after getting inside the number against the Buffalo Bills last week, losing that game 18-10 as a 10-point underdog. Quite frankly, they were pretty lucky to do that, is because Buffalo outgained them by over 200 yards in the game. The Bills settled for 8 field goals. The Jets were able to force a turnover inside the 20 on one other occasion. So this is a team that, they're pretty good. They're pretty bad, I should say. pretty good. Yeah, okay. The Jets, as a matter of fact, offensively, just absolutely embarrassing over their last 3 games, averaging 6.7 points per contest and 246 yards per game. As a matter of fact, in the second half against Buffalo last week, they were shut out and they amassed 4 total yards of offense. That's right, 4 total yards of offense an entire half. All right, let's get to the next matchup because the Jets, there's not a lot to talk about there. The LA Rams at the Miami Dolphins. This is a very intriguing matchup. The Rams are coming off a Monday night win over the Chicago Bears, 24-10, a game they looked pretty solid, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They will be facing a Miami team who's now won 2 in a row and coming off a bye week. So you have a very rare situation in which you have a visiting team that played a Monday night game in their contest before, and they're facing a team playing at home and off a bye, as well as a 2-game win streak. However, keep in mind, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the starter for Miami, who's led them to that surprising 3-3 record so far, as well as a pretty good ATS mark. He no longer will be the starter. The Miami Brass has decided to go with number 1 draft choice, 5th overall pick, Tua Tagovailoa. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I've been trying for 5 years, 4 years at Alabama, and now. Anyway, Tua will be making his first start against a pretty good Rams defense led by Aaron Donald up front. So it is, as I alluded to, a very interesting matchup. Number 1, to see how well Tua plays. Number 2, this will be a true test for Miami. Have they turned the corner at 3-3? And could they get a quality win over Rams team? And, you know, the situation is right for Miami. Plenty of rest, and they're playing a team on short rest. So we'll see, again, what happens in this matchup. Miami quietly, like I just touched upon, 3-3 and just a game and a half behind Buffalo for the lead in the AFC East. The New Orleans Saints at the Chicago Bears. Well, if you watched the Monday night game last night, the Chicago Bears looked absolutely pitiful on offense. And boy, oh boy, it's not so much their passing game. Nick Foles, first of all, didn't get a lot of protection last night. He missed a couple wide open receivers for big plays because he had a defender in his face and had to throw off his back foot. I'm not making excuses for him, but, you know, the tape doesn't lie. And the problem with the Bears offense right now, they just cannot run the ball. As a matter of fact, after starting the season with 2 very good rushing efforts, the Bears in their last 4 games are averaging 43 yards rushing per game and only 2.4 yards per attempt. You can't get it done. You can't set up play action pass. You're leaving your quarterback hung out to dry, and the offensive line has to do a better job because they're based on the pressure I saw last night, they're not doing a great job of protecting the passer, and also they're not opening up holes for the running backs. San Francisco at Seattle, an NFC West battle. All of a sudden, the San Francisco 49ers, who we thought were dead and buried a couple of weeks ago after losing and getting blown out at home against Miami, have turned the corner, won a couple in a row, and they're now 4-3. However, the injuries continue to pile up for the 49ers. Right now, they're a 3-point underdog on the road against San Francisco. This line, by the way, opened with Seattle as a 5-point favorite, and the total 54. It's since been bet down to 3. And that despite the fact San Francisco suffered another couple key injuries. Their young running backs, Wilson, who ran for 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards last week. He was, Jeff Wilson, that is. He suffered an injured ankle, and he's going to be out for the time being. He definitely will not play on Sunday. And he also lost young wide receiver Deebo Samuel, who was coming off a good start to last week's game. He'll be out as well. And then, you know, the running back situation right now is a mess for San Francisco due to injuries. Not only was Wilson hurt last week, who was number 3 on the depth chart, they also lost Tevin Coleman and their number 1 running back, Raheem Mostert. So they're really down on the depth chart here. Seattle, on the other hand, they lost finally, okay, 37-34. And I say finally because with the play of their defense, they've been flirting with disaster since day one. Russell Wilson has been bailing them out with incredible play. But you know what? In the second half, Russell Wilson, in that Arizona game, Russell Wilson was pretty ordinary after going for 250 yards passing in the first half. He threw a couple of interceptions in the second half, had less than 100 yards passing in the second half, and was intercepted at a key moment in the game with less than a minute to go in overtime. Gave the Arizona Cardinals possession at around midfield, and they proceeded to march down and kick a game-winning field goal with 20 seconds left to play in overtime. So that's going to be a real good matchup on Sunday, one I'm going to look forward to. And again, we'll see if Seattle's for real when they start playing these quality teams like San Francisco. On the other hand, they might be catching the 49ers at the right time because they're really banged up as we speak. The Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no line on this game right now. And, it's a result of the ludicrous actions of a Washington defender last week, Bostic, who really cheap shot on Andy Dalton, just about knocked him out completely, but knocked him out of the game. And Dalton suffered a concussion. He's questionable. They're down to their third-string quarterback if Dalton can't go. That's Ben DiNucci, a rookie seventh-round pick out of James Madison. So a lot of uncertainty there. I would say that if Dalton can go, Dallas will probably be around a 3.5-point underdog. And if he can't, the Cowboys will go to 7.5. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles lead the NFC least, not the East, the NFC least, with a 2-4-1 record. And boy, oh boy, since Dak Prescott went down with that gruesome ankle injury, the Cowboys offense the last two games has stalled. Last week, they were held to 3 points against Washington and about 140 yards of total offense. The week before against Arizona, they were held at 10 points and less than 300 yards of total offense. And that was an offense that was really humming with Dak Prescott under center, and still have a lot of good, if not great, skilled position players. But, right now without their quarterback, and I just question the fact that, what bothers me about that whole incident more than anything with Andy Dalton, it bothers me that he got hurt so badly, which is a shame on a cheap shot. But not one Dallas player responded after that cheap shot. It was a one-sided game at the time. You had just lost your starting quarterback a couple weeks back. Your veteran second teamer is in there. He gets a cheap shot that's going to knock him out of the game. It really puts your season in peril if he can't come back. And not one offensive lineman, not one wide receiver, running back, or tight end went to bat for Andy Dalton. That tells me a lot about the character in the culture in Dallas right now. Next game, the LA Chargers at the Denver Broncos, a key AFC West matchup for these two teams because with a loss, you could virtually say that you might as well kiss your potential AFC playoff aspirations goodbye. Not that anybody expected either one of those teams to be there. But, the LA Chargers are interesting. They're 2-4 on the year. They're coming off a 39-29 win at home against Jacksonville, a game they covered as a 7-point favorite, which improved their record to 2-4. Now, their two wins have come against Cincinnati and, as I just touched upon, Jacksonville. Those two teams right now have a combined record of 2-10-1. Okay, so not very good, their two wins. But however, their four losses have all come by 7 points or less, and all have come against pretty good teams. If you look at who they lost to, I mean, you're talking about losing to Tennessee, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, and the Carolina Panthers, who are just 3-4. The other teams are all winning teams. As a matter of fact, the combined record of the four teams they've lost to, 16-4, and yet they're 2-4 on the season. but all 4 of those losses, again, came by 7 points or fewer. Right now, the Chargers are a 3-point favorite, and the total in this contest is 44. Big move because the Chargers opened as a pick'em, and the total of 44.5 has come down to 45. The Chargers have gone over the total in each of their last 3 games, and those games combined to see 64.6 points scored. So high-scoring affairs, to say the least. Denver's 2-5. They've been 2-1 on the road, but 2-2, excuse me, on the road, but they're 0-3 at home. But those games were against Tennessee, Tampa Bay, and Kansas City. So some really good teams there. And so, again, I think I messed up here, folks. The LA Chargers, 4 losses by 7 points or less. But the teams they lost to, the 4 teams they lost to, I know I messed up. The 4 teams the Chargers lost to have a combined 21-9 record as we speak. And the 3 home losses by the Denver Broncos came against teams with a combined 16-4 record. So both of these teams have played very tough schedules to start the year, and they might be a little better, each one of them, than their record may indicate. Denver's defense, by the way, folks, has come on really strong over the last 3 weeks. The next game on the board is the Monday night game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants, a Monday nighter. And Tampa Bay opened as a 9.5-point favorite. That line has since moved to 11. The total opened at 47.5. It's come down to 46. And these teams have played each of the last 3 years. I was surprised to see that. And all 3 of those games were decided by 3 points or less. But keep in mind, Jameis Winston was the quarterback of Tampa Bay then. It's Tom Brady now. So much different circumstance, in addition to the fact that Tampa Bay's wide receiver group is going to be really special now with the addition of Antonio Brown. And the Bucs looked just tremendous last week. They entered the 4th quarter with a 24-20 lead at Las Vegas against a pretty good Raiders team. They outscored them 21-0 in the second half. Tom Brady looked absolutely terrific, and their defense is vastly underrated, in my opinion. They're still the toughest team to run on in the NFL when you combine from the beginning of last year and through this year. They're averaging, I think they're allowing an average of just 66 yards per game and 3 yards per carry this year. And they had similar numbers a season ago, but not a lot of notoriety came their way because they finished at just 7-9. Now, this is a rare situation where we have a Monday night home underdog, a double-digit home underdog on a Monday night. And just for some betting history sake, let's see here. Since 1986, Monday night home underdogs of 10 or greater coming off a loss like the Giants did last week at Philadelphia, 22-21. And they're playing an opponent coming off a win, Tampa Bay coming off that win over Las Vegas. Those Monday night double-digit home underdogs in that situation, 62-36 against the spread. That's 63.2%. You always have to worry when a team like Tampa Bay travels to play a primetime game against a team going nowhere. But then again, we say nowhere because they're 1-6, the Giants, yet they're just 1.5 games behind the Philadelphia Eagles for first place in the NFC East. And again, the Giants played very well. Shorter, they got longer rest, I should say. The Giants played their last game on a Thursday night back in week 7. So they got an additional 3 days of rest, I should say, 4 days of rest. And they really gave Philadelphia all they could handle. If not for a drop by Evan Ingram late in the game, the Giants would have came away with a win, but they lost that contest 22-21. So there you have it. There's all 14 games on the NFL card this coming week. Hope I didn't miss any. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Again, I didn't give you any free picks, but hopefully the information I give you in this podcast or this video right now is going to make you a smarter sports better, or NFL better specifically, in the week to come. Until the next time, I'm Ross Benjamin. Be sure to visit my website, rbwins.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our OSGA YouTube channel. Be kind enough to give me a like on this video, folks. God bless and good luck.